Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services in Eastland, Texas. Tune in every week as we share important information to help you and your family live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, legacy and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
This is Samuel Barker and Aaron Kennedy on Black and White Market Minute with Life Planning 101. Just running through the market today. It'll be a quick podcast. So Aaron, kind of tell us what's going on this week, and then I'll jump into some quick returns, and we'll just have a kind of a simple conversation.
Nice. Well, the market is being the market. Not much has changed. I know everybody gets tired of hearing this, but the things that were working are still working, and that's it. That's it. Really, there's a huge difference in those top Magnificent Seven or AI stocks and everybody else. We were just looking at this. And look at the NASDAQ, and over the last 3 years, the difference between the NASDAQ and what the equal weight is, what was that difference? 50% in returns?
Yeah.
50%. So, the winners keep winning, and it's going to keep winning until it changes. And we were looking at numbers today. This is awfully eerie the way it feels compared to the late 90s. During that time, the NASDAQ was on an absolute tear and just blew through the roof. I think in 99 it was up over 100%. So we can definitely get into these type of bubbles where things just go through the roof. The FOMO gets so strong and there's no way to get out of the way. You either have to be there and make that money or you're not going to do anything. What's another very eerie thing is in 99, while the NASDAQ was up 100%, large value and these other places to be did not make money. And that was a very close time to losing your job because you weren't in the most expensive things out there.
Well, and that was kind of what I had mentioned earlier today when we were kind of talking about what we were going to go through. Whenever interest rates are where they're at, you can get risk-free rate is what, 5.2, 5.3 right now? Why don't we just dump everything into treasury bills, clip that coupon, and ride the rest of the year with that guaranteed rate right there?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm hearing of a lot of people doing that. Hey, I'm just going to wait this out, collect my coupon, and wait.
Yeah.
But what happens if this goes on for another 2 years?
Yeah.
What if the market goes up another 50% this year and doubles next year, just like in '99? Nobody's going to be happy with 5.5%.
Yeah, everybody's going to be looking for somebody other than treasury bills.
Yes. And we won't be doing a podcast anymore because we'll be on the side of the street begging.
Yeah.
So that's the difficult thing is how long can this go on? And, nobody can predict.
Yeah. Well, and, everybody talks about the cash hoards of Warren Buffett. Well, Warren Buffett's not going to get fired if he holds on to 20-30% cash.
Yes.
For 4 or 5. How long has he been overweight cash, Aaron? I know it's been a long time.
I can't give an exact date. It's been a tremendous amount of time. And what was kind of crazy, we've gone through these periods and we're like, okay, Warren's going to invest that cash. I mean, the market's beat up. He's going to do it. But he doesn't invest at all. Even during 2008, he made a big loan out to a really big bank. And I think there was some kind of preferred stock deal, and he was making 10% a year, just loaning money to another bank.
Yeah.
So he does put it to work, but he's always been one of those people that feels very comfortable holding the cash and having that dry powder. And nothing's wrong with that if the rest of your companies are performing. And what was really eye-opening was going into the conference downstairs and seeing all of those private companies that he invests in. And if you have that many private companies, you probably can get the returns holding that much cash.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool.
Yeah, the juice of the private equity overcomes kind of the drag of the cash.
Yes.
Especially whenever cash is earning north of 5%.
Hey, we have a client that's going to it next year. I'm just going to give you a little bit of heads up. the Dairy Queen ice cream only takes cash. So don't go in there with a guard.
Yeah, you need cash. You need good old-fashioned Warren. Well, let's jump into the returns this week. Year to date, the black and white portfolio is up around 12 to 12.5. Against the All Country World is around 12 and 12.13. It looks like. Over the past 1 year, we're north of 21.5 versus the All Country is sitting at right around 19.45%. So we're doing pretty good. Last week we did a rebalance. We moved some stuff around there, and kind of give us a little bit of insight into that.
Yes, this all fits together. The market is screaming, but only a very, very small part of that market is screaming. And if you've listened to any of our podcasts, we talk about risk. And things have been risky, and they continue to get more and more expensive. Before COVID, actually, not COVID, what was it? Back in 21, the market was in the 99th percentile of how expensive it was. And there was only one other time that was more expensive than this, and that was that 1999 year. So, if we're running into that, it gets awfully scary of what can happen if the market decides to revert to the mean or get back to normal. 99, the NASDAQ dropped almost all of it. There's a 30% drop, then a 36% drop, then a 38% drop. So well over 90% of the value was just wiped out of the NASDAQ in 3 years. There's a lot of differences today versus back then. The companies in the NASDAQ are some of the strongest companies and generating the most cash flow of all the companies in the world. I mean, we have 3 companies in the NASDAQ or the S&P that are over $3 trillion.
Yeah, you said the other day they could buy, Germany's whole economy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. These are huge companies and just printing money with the amount of cash flow they're at. But that doesn't change the fact of how expensive they are. So we did do our rebalance, and we're trying to, we want to make as much money as possible, but if this is the last month of positive returns for the next 3 years, we don't want to give it all back.
Yeah.
And we sure don't want to be giving back capital that you all have earned with your hard money, your hard time. So we took both sides of the trade. We looked out and said, hey, this can continue on for another year or two. So we jumped in on that. We took one of our holdings that was a very big quality dividend play, and we moved it over into momentum. We just said, okay, if the getting's good, we're going to get all of it. So we went momentum. And then there's another area in our portfolio on the smaller size companies, and we used that to go right back into our protection. We have a fund that has some good downside protection, and the thinking was, hey, if it keeps going, we're going to get almost all of it, and if it turns the other way, we have this fund that is going to give us some type of safety where the bottom won't fall out, and we'll have extra capital to buy when things are low.
So exposure, we got more exposure when you say momentum to semiconductors, technology.
Yes.
And then on the bottom side, so that the bottom doesn't fall out, it's the thought process with that position, correct me if I'm wrong, is the further the market falls, assuming, this is what we're planning, in the event that it happens, we're ready for it. The more the market falls, this position's going to slow and fall slower the further it falls. Is that correct?
Yes, they basically put insurance on their fund. They're just buying puts. So if the market would fall greater than 15%, those puts start making money. So as the market continues to fall more and more, those puts get stronger and stronger and stronger. And the biggest thing is, when the market's dropping, this is one of the hardest things as a money manager is, what do I sell to take advantage of that? And a lot of times we're going through and saying, hey, this is a great company, but it's only down 12%. Let me turn around and buy something that's down 40%. It's kind of the thought process. You want to take advantage of it. You still want to stay in your high quality companies, but we know that there's some give and take. And sometimes the deal is just too good. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but my wife has come home too many times and said, "You don't understand. I had to buy this because it was BOGO or it was 40% off." And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Anyways, I have that same feeling. It's just with stocks instead of shoes and dresses.
Yeah, yeah. And that's really, if you read any Thomas Sowell, he talks about economics is just demand for scarce resources. And so whenever markets are down, the demand is there and the scarce resource is excess cash. You want to make sure that you're ready for that.
Yes, yes. So I feel more comfortable the way everything is set up. That defensive fund that we have is our largest holding in the portfolio, so that feels good, and the rest of it is we're hanging on to the market, and we're going to run through this. So.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to run through today?
No. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July. I don't know where you are, but it's raining here, thank goodness. I know we're supposed to get a hurricane coming through Texas and Mexico. Hopefully everybody stays safe, and hopefully it brings us lots of water. Not to the point that our friends in town south of us get flooded, but hopefully it'll just skip over y'all and just dump on us.
Yeah. Everybody stay safe on the roads. That'll close us up today for Black and White Market Minute with Life Planning 101.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services. If you have questions, you can email them to lifeplanning@kennedy-financial.com. Be sure to tune in next week for more Life Planning 101. The opinions expressed herein are those of the firm and are subject to change without notice. The opinions referenced are as of the date of publication and are subject to change due to changes in the market or economic conditions and may not necessarily come to pass. Any opinions, projections, or forward-looking statements expressed herein are solely those of the author, may differ from the views or opinions expressed by other areas of the firm, and are only for general informational purposes as of the date indicated. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Smart Money Group LLC. Kennedy Financial Services and Smart Money Group LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by Calton & Associates Incorporated.